So, good morning. We're going to try the video for your rate of return activity again this morning using a little bit different software. Hopefully you'll be able to see this one. So, I got a few questions about how to complete these activities. And I just want to walk you through the first activity, the rate of return activity. So, I have my activity here, but I'll show you what I want you to do. You're going to open Blackboard. And you're going to log into the class. Okay, so we are personal finance today. And I have a couple of things in here you need to know about. The Foundations link takes you to the financial calculators that Ramsey's provided through the textbook. The assignments, however, each have a folder at the top of the units for the activity sheets. So if we go to Chapter 1 and we read our instructions, we see that the Chapter 1 homework activities are the rate of return activity and the goal tracker activity. We're going to select the back button, go to that activity sheets folder, and here is the first one, the rate of return, and here's the second, the goal tracker. What I want you to do is to select each of these activities, and you can do one of two things. Download them and use your computer to edit them and save the printed copy from Ramsey, or download them and print them out and write on them. The problem with printing them out is many of you don't have scanners at home or have access to them. So if you print them out and write on them, then you're going to need to scan them back in, because I need a paper, a document, or an Excel workbook or something of that type that you submit into the Dropbox in the chapter so that I can grade it. And let me show you where that is. So if I go back to Chapter 1, there are your instructions, and here is the folder you must submit them in. Once you're finished, you'll select Homework Activity folder, and it tells you which activities to turn in, 1 and 2 here. Turn them in together at the same time. So you'd select that button and you would allow browse to your computer and go to your saved file, wherever it is you have saved that activity, and then select it and submit it. Alright, so I'm not going to submit anything because you guys will have to do that for yourselves. Now the first activity, let's jump ahead and assume that you already have it, you've got it printed out, or you have it saved on your computer screen, and you can pop back and forth between it. So in my case, I printed it out so that I could see what I'm doing. Excuse me. This activity is called the rate of return activity, and it is about, well, I'll tell you what, let's look at it electronically, because you could do that. It is about the future rate of earnings or compounding interest that you can have if you invest over a 40-year period. So we are given possible rates of return or interest rates of 5%, 12%, and 18%. And we're going to invest a small amount to begin with, either $250 or a little bit bigger, $500 or $1,000. These investments are meant to be one-time investments, not annual, not monthly. You have 3 ways to do this. You can use the calculator at Foundations U. Foundations U link is here in Blackboard. So if you select that Foundations U link here, it should take you to Foundations U in another tab. You'll go to the tools, and here would be the investing calculator, and you need to use the advanced version, and you'll put in all of your data here. I find that the downfall of using the Foundations calculator, though, is if you put in all the data, so 40 years, 5% compounding annually, for 40 years, and show results. Oh, I didn't put in my value, sorry. Let's change that. I get an end result, but I don't get a bar graph. And that's no good for me because in this particular assignment, you need to have a graph. So I'm going to leave that one alone for now, and I'm going to go back to my instructions, which tell me one of 3 methods that I can turn this activity in or complete it. And the second method, method 1 says use the calculator. Method 2 says use a spreadsheet program like Excel to compute future value. I find this to be much easier because I can do the calculations and I can make a little graph in Excel. So here's my instructions of exactly what to put in Excel once I get the FV formula. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to open Microsoft Excel. Now, if you're not familiar with Excel, it opens up and you're opening a worksheet. I'm just going to make mine a little bigger. And we're going to set our data up so that I can easily calculate it using the mouse and clicking around a little bit. When you invest money, Excel calculates in a positive or negative number. We're investing, so we're paying out. So that investment needs to be typed in as a negative investment. So I'm investing the first amount of $250. I'm going to put negative $250. The other amount was negative $500. And then finally negative $1,000. It's a negative because it's cash out of your pocket. The 3 interest rates that my worksheet wants me to calculate for are 5 and 12 and 18%. So interest is calculated using a decimal format. So 5% is the same as saying decimal 0.5. 12% is the same as saying decimal 12. And 18 is decimal 18. Now all I have to do is get that formula that my worksheet talked about. So let's look at it again. It says future value formula, and here's how I fill in that little formula box. So back in Excel, I'm going to get Formulas tab. This is a financial formula, so I'm going to select the financial and the FV or future value formula. The rate is the first thing, so I'm calculating for 5% first. Then your sheet tells you to, let's check it, number of payments is the total number of payments you're putting this in for, or 40 years. So let's put in number 40 years. The payment amount, worksheet says that should be 0 because we're not making monthly investments or other investments. The present value is the lump sum amount of the investment. So this is $250. And then lastly, your worksheet says the type of investment is a 1. And we'll just check that one more time because that's how the interest is paid out, which means once a year. And when you click OK, Excel gives you the ending value of a $250 one-time investment paid out at 40 years at 5%. And you would do the same thing using the same formula for both the 12 and the 18%, and then go on and do 500, 1,000 at all 3 rates as well. So I'm going to do 12% again. I'll go to future value. The rate's going to be 12%. The number of years for the investment is 40. I'm making 0 monthly payments. The present value of the investment is a $500 investment, and it's going to pay out once or annually. So there's the value of a 12% investment of $250 after 40 years. And then finally, let's do the 18% return of compounding interest over 40 years with no additional payments at a $1,000 investment paid out once a year to see what that would be. So that looks pretty good, guys, for just investing a little bit of money, $250 after 40 years. Now, to make a chart in Excel, you simply highlight the data you want to be charted. You'll go to the Insert tab, you'll select Charts, and we'll let Excel help us create something like that. you're going to want to make sure your chart, because you have to do 3 different charts, has a label on it that tells what kind of chart it is. So this is the $250 investment chart. Okay? Once all that's done, you'll save the file, and this would be the file that you turn in for the rate of return activity. I hope this helps. Just know that when you're going into these activities, whatever the activity that's required for that chapter, you're going to need to find. Then you're going to need to print or save, and once you've done that, you're going to need to submit them here into the homework folder. While I have you, someone else has asked me about the case studies. The case studies are found at the end of each chapter. There are usually 2 or 3. They're little stories, and basically you are acting like the financial advisor. Here's a story. Now that you've read the chapter and understand good financial information, what would you recommend, or what would you have this person do in response? These need to be in paragraph style, and you need to answer all of them in the chapter and submit them. Then you're going to open the discussion board, read the prompt, and post your discussion. And before you're finished with this activity, this assignment, you have to reply to 2 people. Okay, hope this helps clear up about the rate of return activity and the other activities that you'll do as we work along in personal finance. Let me know if you have any questions.